Welcome or not the misery of the world. Let's introduce this topic with the tragedy that is occurring currently in Europe. Thousands of immigrants are dying on the coast of Italy, not far from Libya, trying to cross the border of Europe. It's called the drama of Lampedusa. Why are they risking their life to cross those borders? Are their life worthless? What are they looking for in Europe? Africans live to survive. They consider their life in their country as useless. So if they live conscious that they are going to die, that means they have nothing to lose. They are looking for a better way of living in Europe. So here's the real question. Is France has to welcome the misery of the world? By the word misery, they mean immigration. Since the decolonization, the European has been exploiting Africa. They will welcome the educated man rather than the African typical who is looking forward to afford his own food. And by this, they are becoming schizophrenic countries because they are dividing the alien into useful foreign and detrimental foreign. Why? This phenomenon is called the brain drain, and the brain drain contributes to the development of Europe. But this brain drain represents another drama enclosed in the initial drama. Attracting the educated African will further the poverty in Africa, therefore prevent them from developing the continent. And here's the vicious cycle. We are getting back to illegal immigration and to the multiple deaths. There's no difference made between the refugee and the expatriate in Europe. Yet, Europe has a unique sense of vision. They see the immigrant as exotic because he's foreign, and they don't notice that there's not someone more exotic than a European man who goes in an African village. They don't see the European who settle in Africa, who build companies in Africa, who earn money in Africa, who migrate in Africa. All this because it's the movement of powerful, because they have the right passport, because they have the engineering, because they have created the laws. Europe is a fortress. Of course, we cannot omit to say that Africa is silent facing these events. African leaders don't give hope to African youth, and that's due to the corruption, to the nepotism. But who engendered the corruption in African societies? Of course, European companies. The European solution to those issues is to open the border and then close them in moment of crisis. They generalize the right of exit paradoxically with the restriction of entrance. Clearly, today, the history of migration means the history of globalization, and enclosing the border leads to the sedentary population. Africa is the future because it's plenty of natural resources, and its growth is exponential, and it creates market for Western societies. It's obvious that Africa and Europe must respect each other. Africa must stop saying that it's the European fault and Europe won't escape without Africa. Otherwise, it will be a shot that Europe will train in its back forever. And what can I do to solve this as an individual? I'll have to go back in my country to participate to the development once I'm done with my studies and not to be a brain drain. I would have to persuade my friend or family who didn't have the opportunity to study overseas to study in their own country and act responsibly in order to develop our country. I have to advise my friend not to be involved in the world of nepotism. I'd have to follow this belief once I'm in Mali, not trying to deviate the law in order to get things easier. I have to keep my culture in mind, which most important value is solidarity.